Right now on Morning News Now, race to retreat as Hurricane Milton barrels towards Florida's Gulf Coast. Thousands are scrambling to evacuate.
You must be in a safe place by 7 a.m. on Wednesday morning. If you remain there, you could die. My men and women could die trying to rescue you.
With the Category 4 storm now charging toward still reeling Tampa Bay area, President Biden has approved an emergency declaration with the federal government promising more than 900 federal workers on the ground there in Florida. Now, the focus on FEMA's response and the new track just in this morning. Also this morning, campaign crunch with less than a month until Election Day. Vice President Harris is hitting the airwaves while former President Donald Trump is facing backlash for suggesting that immigrants have bad genes. How his campaign is now responding. And the new warning from U.S. intelligence officials about the days after the election. Plus, ghost guns on the docket. The Supreme Court back in session, wasting no time, diving right into those high-stakes cases, the fight over regulations, and why a decision on the nearly untraceable firearms could rest on a nearly 60-year-old law. And call it a cosmic crash investigation. The new mission set to begin on an asteroid millions of miles away that could one day help save the planet.
That sounds like an important mission right there. Good morning. Good to have you with us on a very busy Tuesday. I'm Joe Fryer.
I'm Morgan Radford. A pleasure to be with you today. I'm in for Savannah Sellers. We start right now this hour in Florida, where almost the entire state is under some form of extreme weather alert as Hurricane Milton takes aim at its Gulf Coast. That storm, now a strong Category 4. It has sustained winds of 155 miles per hour.
The National Hurricane Center says that this has the potential to be one of the most destructive hurricanes ever in west central Florida. Already, it's forcing schools and colleges across more than 20 counties to close, and Tampa's airport will close later this morning. The rush is on, with many counties issuing mandatory evacuation orders. Piles of debris still line several streets from Hurricane Helene. Now stores are starting to run out of supplies. Gas stations are also running low on fuel as people race to get out ahead of the storm. President Biden approved an emergency declaration for the entire state to get FEMA resources ready. And police and firefighters are pleading with residents, get to a safe location by tomorrow morning. NBC News meteorologist Michelle Grossman is standing by with the latest on Milton's path. We have the mayor of Sarasota, Florida, Liz Alpert, here to talk about how the coastal city is preparing. We start with NBC News correspondent Jesse Kirsch, who's on the ground in Sarasota. Jesse, good morning. Parts of Sarasota and Manatee County under mandatory evacuation orders today. Many streets there are still covered in piles of debris, and a lot of that can become projectiles in the storm that's coming. So where do the cleanup efforts stand right now?
Yeah, Joe, take a look around me. This is just one homeowner's front lawn, and this is after he tells me that he paid out of his own pocket to have crews take away multiple truckloads worth of stuff. And this just gives you an idea of what officials are up against, as this is a race against the clock to get everything, or as much as possible, out of the way before the storm hits. And in neighboring Manatee County, I spoke with an official there who told us that as crews have been taking debris away, people have been continuing to take stuff out of their home. Because remember, we're less than 2 weeks after Helene, but of course it's only been a couple of days that we've really been worried about the threat from Milton. And so people were in recovery mode, and now they're having to make a hard pivot back into preparation mode. So there are a lot of moving pieces here, and unfortunately that could be literally true soon, because all of this, as you mentioned, could be picked up in those powerful 100+ mile-per-hour winds, and also with storm surge coming in. I'm just blocks away from the waterfront here. With storm surge coming in, this could effectively become battering rams that smash into structures as well. So just a lot of concern, not to mention that it could then make it harder for first responders to get to people in need once the storm passes. So there's just a lot of variables here, and this makes things that much harder.
Hey there, Jesse. Morgan here. It's interesting you mentioned that pivot from recovery to now preparation. I know that you've been talking to people there on the ground thus far. What do they say is their biggest concern as they make that pivot?
Yeah, one of the things that we've heard from people is they're trying to, get things ready. This homeowner, for example, told me he's not sandbagging. He's not going to be putting up boards on the doors and windows here like he did previously, because he said it would basically take an army of people to do it, considering what's happened here and what's expected. Because you can see behind me, I think, along the light on the garage there and on the siding, you can see the water line still, and it's probably roughly around waist high on me. And the reality is we're looking at potentially twice as high of a storm surge this time around, Morgan. So, you know, again, you look at what's already been done to these communities, unfortunately, and that things could be getting far worse in terms of the property damage ahead.
Jesse, we've also seen some concern showing up on social media from those who say they can't afford to evacuate. They need things like gas, a hotel room, food, other essentials for an undetermined amount of time. So what options are there for folks who say they just can't get to safe ground?
Yeah, I mean, certainly something to ask the mayor of Sarasota about for their local plan. But I can tell you that when we spoke with folks in Manatee County, officials there are really, really impressing upon people to heed those evacuation warnings. That's something we hear up and down this coast in the areas that have been called for. That is not something to play with. You should get out. And officials do have shelters set up. And I asked about Manatee County, again, just north of here in Sarasota, and they said that they have multiple shelters open. They have room for everyone who has been called for to be evacuated. And if they need to open more shelters, they have that ability as well. So, you know, when officials put these words out for evacuation orders, please reach out if you're worried about figuring out a way to get out of there, because, of course, they have all kinds of teams involved in their preparations. And bottom line, above all else, and, you know, again, this is something that we've been talking a lot about that is a concern, but the top concern for officials I've spoken with is to get out if you've been told to evacuate. Because, again, guys, we're looking at water there about waist high on me right now. It would be over my head potentially here in Sarasota alone. You cannot, in a realistic scenario, probably survive that if that water rushes in. And it doesn't come slowly. It crashes onto shore.
It's interesting, Jesse, because every time we do these stories, inevitably you see someone sort of like walking behind the camera, going to the beach, not heeding these evacuation orders. Are these evacuation orders mandatory, or do people essentially have a choice?
I've seen them called mandatory. I've seen them be phrased as people are being asked to evacuate. You know, terminology changes place to place. But what I've heard from officials time and again is they really don't have a mechanism to truly force someone from their home. So the reality is that if people are going to stay, and unfortunately we do see that, right, there's only so much you can do. But, you know, I would just point anyone who's contemplating sticking around in a place like this to look at any number of storms that we've talked about in the past. It does not end well for people who stick around. And it's just a very, you know, a sad thing to see. And all we can do is ask people again and again, heed those evacuation warnings. I'm sure the mayor will say something similar. Again, you cannot have a good fight against the water when it comes rushing in.
Great point.
Jesse Kirsch. Jesse, thank you so much in Sarasota.
Let's go in and bring in Liz Alpert. She is the mayor of Sarasota, which is right there along Florida's Gulf Coast. Mayor Alpert, first off, thank you so much for making time to join us, especially while you all are really in the thick of things. I know we're talking to you less than 2 weeks after Helene, of course. It caused devastating flooding. Forecasters now say that this hurricane, Milton, could actually bring the worst storm surge in a century to your area. How do you even sort of begin to prepare for something like that? What are you telling your residents?
Obviously, you know, what everyone has been saying is you have to evacuate. It is not survivable to survive a 10 to 15 foot storm surge. It just simply isn't. So I think, and I think people are heeding that warning after having lived through Helene.
Let's talk about this evacuation order right now, which is so massive, the largest you've seen since 2017. That was Hurricane Irma. I remember I was there in the region bracing for that one. It was like a ghost town. How's it going this time around? Are people able to leave? Do you feel like they're heeding that warning?
I do. As I said, after being through Helene and seeing what happened, people are getting out. I see more and more people saying, we are not staying for this. And the traffic on the road there, you know, indicates how serious people are taking it. But getting on the road is problematic. But, you know, I think, though, it's necessary. It's better to be doing that than to be in your home and not able to be rescued and nothing you can do and perhaps lose your life.
Can you tell us about some of the emergency provisions that currently are in place, Mayor? For example, for people who are looking for shelters, how far inland are the shelters? Where can they go? Where can they get information?
Yeah, they can. A lot of the schools are converting to shelters, and they will be open at 10 a.m. this morning. And they can get information either on the City of Sarasota's website, and the 3 schools in the city are Booker High School, Brookside Elementary, and Southside Elementary. But if they live in the county and want to go to a county school, they can look at the county website and see the entire list of shelters that are available.
All right, Sarasota Mayor Liz Alpert. Thank you so much, Mayor Alpert. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Stay safe. All right, let's bring in meteorologist Michelle Grossman with the latest on Hurricane Milton's track, the timing, its size. Michelle, good morning.
Hi there, guys.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. No, this remains a very, very dangerous storm. We are looking at a Category 4 storm just 2 miles per hour away from a Category 5. So we're looking at winds at 155 miles per hour. Joe, Morgan, this is a dangerous storm. We're looking at life-threatening situation over the next, let's say, 40 hours. We're going to make landfall within 40 to 44 hours, somewhere between 10 p.m. on Wednesday night into around 2 o'clock on Thursday morning. Take a look at this system. 155 mile per hour winds, Category 4 storm winds. Moving northeast at 12 miles per hour, and it's about 560 miles southwest of Tampa, Florida. So it will make its way along that supercharged Gulf. We are looking at really warm waters, record-breaking temperatures, and that's why we're seeing this strong system. It exploded yesterday from a Category 1 up to a Category 5. Again, we're teetering right on the edge. We're at 155 miles per hour. A Category 5 storm is 157. So as we go throughout time here, we're going to see Wednesday, 2 a.m., 155 miles per hour, so still a Category 4 storm. Anticipating that by the afternoon as well. And then as it makes landfall somewhere Wednesday night into Thursday morning, we're expecting it kind of teetering between a Category 4 and a Category 3. Doesn't really matter. We're looking at winds gusting up to 100 miles per hour. As Jesse mentioned, we have debris all along the roads in places like Cedar Key, Tampa Bay. So we're going to have to deal with that as these winds come on shore. We're also looking at that storm surge up to 15 feet. That is salt water. It's a wall of salt water over dry land. And then we're looking at rainfall up to 18 inches. So then we're going to watch Milton kind of go over the Atlantic Thursday, Friday, and then we're going to continue to watch and see what happens after that. Tropical alerts are now from the Carolinas all the way to the Keys. We have all sorts of watches and warnings. A hurricane warning. Hate to see this for Cedar Key, Tampa, Fort Myers, because we are looking at that potentially devastating situation as we go throughout Wednesday into Thursday and then beyond. Let's take a look at the storm surge. This is probably going to be the legacy of Milton because we are looking at a 10 to 15 foot storm surge. As we just heard, that is unsurvivable. You want to heed the warnings. You have to heed the warnings if you're expecting to survive, because that is a wall of water that is powerful, as Jesse mentioned. 6 to 10 feet, that's where we're looking at the red. So places like Fort Myers, Naples 4 to 7. And then as we go further to the north, we're going to see 5 to 10 north of Tampa. Also talking about destructive winds gusting up to 100 miles per hour in some spots from coast to coast, widespread power outages. Remember, it's been raining for days. The ground is already so saturated, so it's loose. The trees are going to come down. We're going to see power outages lasting for weeks as we recover from this storm. And we are also looking at the potential for some flash flooding, considerable flash flooding, and some major river flooding as well. Locally, up to 18 inches of rain in the north central Florida peninsula, where you see those colors there, that's kind of indicating where we expect the likeliest flash flooding. The pink colors, the red colors, that's where we're expecting the moderate risk, also the high risk. The high risk does include Sarasota, also Tampa, and that's where we're expecting the highest storm surge as well. So as we go throughout time here, we could see, again, anywhere from 5 to 10, even 15, 18 inches of rain. And this is across the state, too. Notice it's not just the West Coast. It goes all the way across. So Orlando is going to get a lot of rain as well. Melbourne, a little less as we head further to the south and also to the east. On top of this, we have a severe weather threat. With any sort of landfalling system, we have the potential for some tornadoes. That starts tonight. So notice where you see the green here, that's your marginal risk. So we do have a chance for isolated tornadoes even as early as tonight as those winds pick up, the storm surge picks up, the rainfall picks up, and we could see winds gusting up to 60 miles per hour. And then we'll end it here, guys, because we have that risk extending into tomorrow as well with that landfall. And we're talking about Fort Pierce, also Miami, where we could see 14 million people at risk for some strong storms. So this is a big story. It's dangerous, it's scary, and it's going to be sad. So we're going to continue to watch this before this makes landfall in the next 40 to 44 hours.
All right, it can be a long few days, Michelle. We appreciate everything. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Well, switching gears, we are now exactly 4 weeks away from Election Day as the presidential campaign enters the home stretch. It's a busy day for Vice President Kamala Harris. Her media blitz continues with several TV and radio interviews planned. As NBC News senior White House correspondent Gabe Gutierrez explains, Harris is facing some tough questions about her economic proposals, while former President Donald Trump is facing backlash over new comments about migrants.
After facing criticism for avoiding unscripted events, Vice President Harris on a new media blitz. On CBS, pressed on her economic plan.
How are you going to pay for it?
Well, one of the things is I'm going to make sure that the richest among us who can afford it pay their fair share in taxes.
But we're dealing with the real world here.
But the real world includes...
How are you going to get this through Congress?
You know, when you talk quietly with a lot of folks in Congress, they know exactly what I'm talking about.
Meanwhile, former President Trump, who's called for the mass deportation of migrants, is igniting new controversy by suggesting undocumented immigrants convicted of murder have bad genes.
You know, now a murderer, I believe this, it's in their genes. And we got a lot of bad genes in our country right now.
That type of language is hateful, it's disgusting, it's inappropriate, and has no place in our country.
The former president was clearly referring to murderers, not migrants, while Trump is also slamming the Biden-Harris administration over their response to Hurricane Helene, saying they're not getting help to devastated communities fast enough.
Kamala Harris has left them stranded. They send hundreds of billions of dollars to foreign nations, and you know what they're giving our people? $750.
The White House says that's not true. The $750 is only an upfront payment for emergency costs, while FEMA assesses people's eligibility for more. Some $200 million have been allocated so far. Back to you.
Our thanks to Gabe Gutierrez from the White House.
For more on the state of the race, we're joined now by NBC News senior national politics reporter Jonathan Allen. John, good to have you with us. So let's begin with Vice President Harris and her media tour. She's interviews lined up today at The View, Stephen Colbert, Howard Stern. Pretty easy territory for her. She's been criticized for not doing many interviews with the major news networks since the start of her campaign. She did sit down with 60 Minutes, as we saw there in Gabe's piece. But what's the story her campaign is trying to tell with these appearances on very different shows now?
I mean, first of all, I think they're trying to get her out there to address this question of whether she's kind of been hiding from interviews. And there's a mix. She did 60 Minutes, obviously, one of the legendary news programs. That's not what you would consider a friendly. It's an adversarial interview. But now she's moving into, as you point out, this sort of nicer territory for her. The View, Howard Stern. I think both of those shows are places where you'll find people who have attended, Democratic presidential fundraisers in the past. So, I don't expect, and Colbert, for example, of course, is not a big fan of Donald Trump. So, I think you can expect to see her kind of showing off her lines that she wants, making the arguments that she wants, and not having to worry about being pressed on whether her plans can get through Congress.
Hey, John Morgan here. It's interesting because that's Harris, but what about Trump? Because what I find so interesting is that this race could ultimately come down to a few 100,000 votes in a battleground state. But, Harris seems to still be sort of introducing herself fundamentally to a lot of voters, whereas Trump, to my, sort of feeling, it feels like he's doubling down on who his base is, not necessarily speaking to those people he could potentially convert. How does his playbook change with just a few weeks to go?
Hey, Morgan, good to see you. I'm not sure that his playbook is going to change a ton. You're absolutely right that he, in his rally speeches and in a lot of his other commentary, is hitting that hard base. It's what Donald Trump does at the end of an election. It's his comfort food, if you will. He wants to rile up that base. He wants to make sure he gets that turnout. And at the same time, you're seeing his campaign do things that are more of that persuasive outreach. You see the ads that they're running during football games and during the baseball playoffs. If you're a sports fan, they've been ubiquitous. So a little bit of both. The one hand, the campaign trying to reach out, and the other hand, the the former president himself, just trying to rile up that base and make sure he gets turnout.
John, let's talk about election security. U.S. intelligence officials are warning about foreign adversaries attempting to shake Americans' confidence in the legitimacy of the election results. What more should we know about this?
Well, I think this is an ongoing thing, Joe. I mean, we've seen this in election after election, certainly dating at least to 2016. And what we should also know about it is it's not just foreign actors. You've got a former president of the United States who's the Republican nominee for president who is doing everything he can to shake confidence in the legitimacy of this election, just like he did to try to shake confidence in the legitimacy of the 2020 election and in the legitimacy of the 2016 election. He won in 2016, but in 2020, he had also ceded the ground for the idea that he was going to be cheated and then claimed he was cheated. Of course, there's no evidence of that, and there's a lot of evidence to the contrary. But it's not just foreign actors, they're domestic actors, too.
All right, John, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Well, the Supreme Court's new term is currently underway, and today the justices are set to hear arguments over the legality of rules that were put in place by the Biden administration in an attempt to regulate so-called ghost guns. Now, these are guns that are sold online in kits, and they're assembled at home, which makes them pretty difficult to trace. The ATF issued rules back in 2022 trying to ultimately treat them like regular guns, requiring manufacturers and sellers of ghost gun kits to put serial numbers on those individual parts.
They also require sellers to conduct background checks on each kit that's sold and verify the buyer is 21 or older. The ATF and the Biden administration created these rules hoping to slow the availability of ghost guns. The justices will now determine if those rules went too far.
NBC News legal analyst Danny Savalos is here with more on this. Danny, good morning. It sounds like all of this sort of essentially comes down to this 1968 Gun Control Act, but also the scope of the ATF. Where do we stand?
Sure. This is a common dispute where you have a federal statute, here the 1968 law, and then you have an administrative agency engaging in what's called rulemaking. And that's because every federal statute can't cover or answer every question we're going to have. So what agencies do is they create rules. They're not part of the legislative process. They're not even in the legislative branch. And what they do is essentially interpret federal law. And commonly they're challenged as either not being consistent with that law, because they must be consistent with that law. Indeed, a rule only has power through the source of that federal law. So if they create a rule that's inconsistent or even violates it, then that rule is no good. So that's exactly the challenge here. The challengers are saying, you went too far, ATF. You created a rule that exceeds your power under the 1968 law. That is the challenge. And the court will be determining, they'll be looking at the text of the 1968 statute and the rule itself, 2022, and saying, did the ATF here go too far in essentially creating a law that isn't valid based on the original law that gave them the power to do so?
Let's look a little deeper at what the gun rights groups and gun manufacturers are arguing. They're basically saying, hey, we're talking about selling gun parts. That's different from whole guns. It should be okay. How will the justices determine here what the line is? Is this the main issue here?
The 1968 law requires manufacturers to stamp a serial number on a firearm. And a firearm includes, and this has come up in my cases, what's called a receiver. That is a component part. A receiver is basically the lower, you have the lower part of the firearm, the rifle, and with the trigger, and then you have the upper part, which includes the barrel. Now, the challengers are saying, okay, receiver is fine, but what about the little itty-bitty parts? If I get a jigsaw puzzle of a gun and put it all together, that is not within the law. Those tiny component parts are not the same as the receiver, which is a much bigger part of a gun. So therefore, we're not covered by the law, and therefore, hobbyists, people who assemble these guns, we don't have to stamp serial numbers on what our completed product is. It's really just a philosophical argument. Are the tiny parts of something the same as the whole once assembled?
I want to go back to something you said earlier about precedent. You mentioned 2022, but last term, SCOTUS essentially took up a case that involved the ban on these bump stocks. How does that decision affect what we're seeing now?
So that's fascinating. And it's again, also a kind of rulemaking interpretation. That, I would argue, was a slightly easier decision for the justices because the law simply defined a machine gun. That was the rule back then. Is a bump stock a machine gun? Well, federal law and Congress made a decision to define a machine gun as something with one pull of the trigger equals one bullet. They could have defined it by rate of fire. They could have said, hey, if it fires more than 5 bullets in a second, that's a machine gun. But that's not how they defined it. And the bump stock does result in a trigger being pulled, but kind of in a superhuman way, in a way that only the Terminator could. It's like if you had a robotic finger, that would not make your gun a machine gun. So it's a really interesting argument, but likely in that case, the outcome, I thought, they reached the result that may not be the right for the safety of Americans, but it is the correct result under the interpretation of the law. One trigger, one bullet. Unfortunately, Congress could go back and redefine what a machine gun is if they like. They probably should.
Danny, while we have you, one more thing we want to talk about. Yesterday, Georgia's Supreme Court reinstated that state's 6-week abortion ban. So we know the U.S. Supreme Court has dealt with this issue. Is this the end of the road for this issue? What happens next? Any challenges?
The Supreme Court has dealt with it, but they also haven't. The Supreme Court did away with the federal constitutional right to an abortion. That does not change each individual state's right to either amend their own constitution or rely on their own state constitution or enact state law that protects the right to an abortion, or does the opposite, eliminates the right to an abortion. It really, truly has been returned to the states in that sense, and that creates a patchwork. So, yes, the Supreme Court's dealt with this, but not the Georgia Supreme Court. So this is actually fair game whether or not this law survives based on Georgia's constitution, not the federal constitution.
Danny Savalos making us so much smarter at 7 a.m. in the morning. Man, I feel like I just went through like a master legal class, and just you made me way smarter than I deserve to be at 7 a.m.
Well, thank you. You folks do it to me every morning.
Thank you, Professor Savalos.
No, we don't.
Appreciate it.
Coming up, discussing personal finances can be taboo. Danny, do you want to talk about that? But no, should it be? We're digging into the results of a new study and why opinions around what was once considered a financial faux pas could be changing.
Yeah, but first, Israel says it is expanding its assault into Lebanon. We are on the ground in Beirut with the very latest. Stay right here.
We're back with new developments out of Lebanon. This morning, the Israeli military said it was expanding its ground assault to the southwestern part of the country in what it calls a limited, localized, and targeted operation on Hezbollah.
Now, this ground offensive comes following another night of Israeli airstrikes on the capital, Beirut, while explosions were also heard over Tel Aviv and Haifa after Hezbollah fired rockets into Israel. And as Israel expands its military operation into Lebanon, officials say more than 400,000 people have fled Lebanon for Syria. Most of them are said to be Syrians who had originally fled Syria to escape the war there.
NBC News international correspondent Matt Bradley joins us now from Beirut. Matt, so bring us up to date on what's been happening where you are and what exactly this new Israeli expanded ground offensive looks like.
Yeah, well, Joe, you know, you mentioned those words, the limited, targeted. These were the same language that we heard from the Israelis last week when they launched this ground invasion. And now it looks as though they're expanding it further, adding a 4th division and a new geographical area, southwest Lebanon. This also comes as they've warned the people with boats, fishermen and pleasure seekers, not to take their boats out off the coast of southern Lebanon, where it sounds as though the Israelis are planning to expand their operations onto naval operations so that they're going to be targeting the land from the sea. This, as the Israelis have continued to pound the neighborhood of Dahia behind me and other sites all around Lebanon, punishing Hezbollah even more now, well into almost a month since this whole expanded operation started. But today, we heard from Naim Qassem. He is the deputy head of Hezbollah. He said that Hezbollah still has capabilities to fight against the Israelis. And indeed, we know from the Israelis and from Hezbollah themselves, they're continuing to launch projectiles into northern Israel. But at the same time, he said Hezbollah would be open to some negotiations done by the Lebanese government to find some measure of peace here.
Hey there, Matt Morgan here. It's interesting. We've been talking so much about Lebanon, given the news, but we can't forget what's happening also in Gaza. And while things have been intensifying there in Lebanon, we're seeing strikes and we're even seeing troop movements there in Gaza. What's the latest?
That's right. We're still seeing a lot of action in Gaza and actually a lot of death, including among civilians. There was a report today that 25 to 30 people had been killed in airstrikes on central Gaza, and this is we're seeing ground movements continuing by the Israelis. So yes, you're right. The headlines are being taken by the new action that's going on here in Lebanon, but let's not forget the incredible human suffering that's been happening in the Gaza Strip, which has been going on now for a year.
And Matt, we know that this region is holding its breath over how and when Israel's going to respond against Iran following last week's missile attack. Just this morning, Iran's foreign minister addressed this issue ahead of his visit to Saudi Arabia and other Middle Eastern countries. So what's he saying? What's the aim of this tour?
Well, it sounds as though the Iranians are justifying their original attack on Israel, saying, that those 180 missiles, nearly 200 ballistic missiles, that this was something that they were doing to provide deterrence and self-defense. What we're also hearing from Western governments saying that they don't want to have the Israelis attacking oil and especially nuclear installations, because this could escalate the conflict even further. Now, there is, at the same time, kind of a decoupling that's going on between Washington and Jerusalem, where Washington is trying to prevail upon the Israelis to rein in what is about to be probably a massive retaliation against the Iranians to avoid bringing the entire region into war. But given what's been going on, given the Israelis' behavior up until now, it's hard to imagine that they're going to choose the path that would necessarily, wind things down. They've already been escalating both in Gaza and here in Lebanon.
All right, Matt Bradley. Matt, thank you so much.
We'll stay right here because coming up, we are tracking Hurricane Milton as it churns towards Florida's Gulf Coast.
How the region is preparing again less than 2 weeks after Helene's destruction. Welcome back. We are tracking Hurricane Milton this morning as it advances toward Florida's Gulf Coast. The storm is expected to make landfall sometime late Wednesday night into early Thursday morning.
Now, that storm exploded in intensity yesterday, going from a Category 1 to a Category 5 in just about 24 hours. Now it's churning as a strong Category 4 with winds up to 155 miles per hour.
NBC News Now anchor Tom Yamas is live in Madera, Florida, which is in Milton's path. Good morning, Tom. I know you're on one of the Barrier Islands near Tampa, where forecasters are predicting some of the worst storm surge in history. Just tell us what you're seeing out there.
Yeah, some of the worst storm surge in history, and they already survived Helene. Just behind me here, you can see some of the piles of debris that they're worried about here, 6 feet high in some cases. All around this neighborhood, you see these piles like this on both sides of the street. They're working hard to clean it up. The mayor of Tampa tells me she doesn't think they're going to pick it all up. They're going to pick up most of it, but it can become dangerous, right? If the storm surge waters hit this, it can crash into the house or end up in the ocean. If the hurricane force winds hit it, it can pick up some of this stuff. It can act like projectiles. All over this area, there are evacuation orders, so people are getting out. They are heeding those warnings right now. There are traffic jams miles long along I-4 to get out of Tampa right now and head somewhere east out of the path of the storm. But because of that, gas is running low in some areas. They're waiting on gas shipments. Hotels are sold out. On social media, people are saying they can't find places to stay. And just think about this. It's another week of no work where you have to evacuate and escape. For many of these people, they came back to clean up after Helene, and now they're getting out again because of this monster hurricane, Hurricane Milton. It looks like it's going to make landfall somewhere after Wednesday night into Thursday morning. It's going to be one of those nighttime hurricanes, just like Helene, which can be even more dangerous when you talk about that historic storm surge. That's what they're worried about in Tampa, right? A storm surge that is anywhere from 10 to 12 feet. I was over at Tampa General, which is the hospital there in Tampa. They had that aqua fence set up. It worked during Hurricane Helene. You know, the guy, the facilities operator who was running that says it should hold up in Milton, but you never know. The thing he said he wasn't sure about was the 135-mile-per-hour winds. That's the gauge for the aqua fence. That's what it can withstand. If the winds are stronger than that, it comes in as a Category 4 or a Category 5, it could be a much different story. So everyone is sort of nervous here. People are trying to evacuate. Officials have made it very clear. In some cases, if you don't evacuate, you will die. Those are their words, and they're working around the clock to clear out all this debris. There are dump trucks. We hear them right now working early this morning. You see them all over the Tampa area, all over the Gulf Coast to try to pick up this debris. But there is so much of it. We're talking about millions of square yards of this debris, and hopefully they'll be able to pick it up soon. I'm going to send it back to you guys over there.
All right, we hope so too. Tom Yamas, thank you so much.
For more on this, let's go in and bring in the national spokesperson for the American Red Cross, Stephanie Fox. Stephanie, good morning, and thanks so much for taking out your time to be with us. It's interesting to hear Tom sort of capture the spirit of nervousness for a lot of people as Hurricane Milton is making its way east towards Florida, expected to make landfall there on the state's Gulf Coast late tomorrow. What are you all doing as an organization to really help people prepare for this storm?
Well, as we know, the Red Cross has been on the ground supporting those who were impacted by Hurricane Helene in this exact same area just a couple of weeks ago. We had more than 450 volunteers that were mobilized and supporting those operations. So those volunteers will work to support those previous needs, and these new needs are going to develop with this new storm as Milton heads into this area. Hundreds of additional volunteers are on their way to ensure that we can support all of those residents and their needs. We have shelters open. We're working with our local officials and partners to ensure that folks have a safe place to ride out the storm. And we're going to be here long after.
You know, a storm like this can expose that some just don't have the means or the ability to evacuate, whether it's a car or gas or a hotel or mobility issues. So if they can't leave, what can people do to prepare for the storm and stay as safe as possible?
If you have some barriers as it pertains to transportation, whether it be because of this last storm and potentially losing your transportation then, or additional barriers, contact your local Office of Emergency Management. They are running buses, they are running shuttles to ensure that they can get folks out of there, especially in those areas that are under those mandatory evacuation orders. They're going to have information across their social media platforms as well, and a lot of the local news stations are covering that in addition to those Office of Emergency Management officials. And it's essential that folks do heed those warnings. I know the lines are long, gas is a little bit limited, and it's tiring to be sitting in hours-long traffic, but it is absolutely essential that folks get out and stay out until the danger has passed.
You know, Stephanie, you've seen so many of these sort of natural disasters, and it was just like a week and a half ago that we were talking about Hurricane Helene, and all the reporters we're talking to on the ground are saying that the areas that are expected to be hit by Milton, they're still, you know, in the recovery process. What do you think sort of concerns you most about that pivot to now preparing for Milton? What do you think is different this week?
You know, it's going to take some folks a little bit longer to prepare potentially. And it's not just the physical and property ramifications that we're looking at, it's the emotional and the mental ramifications that we have to consider. These folks are stressed, they're scared, they're nervous. They've just been through an incredibly traumatic thing, and now they're having to up and leave their homes once again. So we are ensuring that we have the people on the ground to treat folks with the utmost respect and grace and care and comfort to provide for not only this physical, but those mental and emotional needs as well. So care for your neighbors, look out for your neighbors, your friends, your family who are being impacted. If you are outside the area and you can phone in to check on your folks ahead of time, let them know that you care for them and love them. That'll go a long way.
After this storm hits, hundreds of thousands, if not millions, could be dealing with power outages, water outages, flooding, or just damage from the wind. What can they do to get help right away, knowing so many other people are going to be in the same situation they are?
Yeah, the Red Cross is no stranger to responding to multiple disasters simultaneously, and that's what we're going to be doing here. So it's really essential that as soon as danger has passed, once it is safe for folks to venture out, if you need assistance, call 1-800-RED-CROSS. If it is an emergency and you need life-threatening assistance, please call 911. And the Red Cross is going to be here to support by way of safe shelter, food, snacks, health, mental health care, supplies, as well as just all those necessities that you're going to need in the short term and the long term. We have caseworkers that are going to be responding and supporting those folks, walking through what those next steps look like in the days, weeks, and months ahead.
Stephanie Fox, thank you so much for your time and for your information. And I think especially the point you made about making sure that we're caring for our neighbors, not only with the physical resources, but with the mental and emotional ones. Thank you. All right, well, speaking of that, why your friendships could be even more important than you know, and the new AI simulation that could give you a glimpse at your future self. You will not want to miss this segment. Stay right here.
Welcome back. Time now for our weekly mental health check-in. We're kicking things off with some new global data on stress and tips to overcome it ahead of World Mental Health Day, which is later this week.
Plus, grab your time machines, how a chat with an AI-generated future you may actually reduce your present-day anxiety.
For a breakdown of all that and a little more, let's bring in psychotherapist Dr. Robbie Ludwig. Dr. Robbie, good to have you with us. So let's jump in with this new report for World Mental Health Day. It's by the market research company Ipsos. Excuse me, a major theme around the world is stress. 62% of respondents say they experience stress to the point that it impacts their daily lives. I would think that number would be 100%.
Right?
But it's especially common in younger women. So what can we all do to try and conquer stress the best we can?
Yeah, so this was a really impressive study in that they looked at about 25,000 people over 31 countries. And what they found was that 62% of people said they felt stressed to the point where it impacted their daily life at least once. 41% said that physical health was treated as more important than mental health by their country's current healthcare system. 40% said they felt stress once or several times to the point where they could not go into work for a period of time. And 76% said that mental health and physical health were equally as important. And of course, there were slight nuances where the younger generation, the Gen Zs, were more inclined to take a day off from work if they felt stress was overwhelming them, where the millennial generation were a little bit stronger in terms of going into work even if they were feeling stressed. So it's interesting to see the generational differences and how more people are recognizing mental health as important, equally as important as physical health, even though there's a little catch up to be done.
And Gen X just works harder when they're stressed.
and Gen X definitely works harder. That's true.
Dr.
We were raised wrong. What's wrong with us?
I mean, everyone should have been born just like 10 years later, I guess. Listen, next up, there's new research out of the University of California that suggests that young adults who are satisfied with their friendships are actually happier people overall. And I just think that is a really interesting study because we all know that it feels nice to be around good friends. But break down for us why it makes such a big difference.
Well, they looked at friendships in their 20s, and they found that when people had healthy friendships, they felt generally more satisfied in life, and they just felt connected. These were people that they were navigating the challenges of life with. These are people that they could share their emotions and laugh with and have a good time. And generally, we're happier and less lonely when we have friendships in our lives that support us and make us feel connected. So it just confirmed everything that we do know. And plus, people are really staying single longer. And what the study wanted to look at was why friendships helped us, especially if we're single longer.
I love that point. And our producer Sydney put up some pictures of my friends, and I realized that's really true, but it's not just having them around, but it's also the diversity of those friendships, right? I feel like I've lived like multiple lives, virtue of having these friends that, kind of span the globe.
That's a great point. And there's a horn honk right there, too.
Sorry. That's a great point.
You're in New York, that's the way it is. All right, we have a little bit of time here, but we quickly want to hit one more that we talked about. MIT study turning the movie Back to the Future into kind of reality. So we don't have a DeLorean, or at least some people have DeLorean, but it doesn't travel time. But researchers at MIT say people can actually use AI to chat with sort of a future version of themselves, and researchers think it could reduce anxiety and other negative emotions. Thoughts on this one? How does it work?
There's lots of anxiety for younger people, the younger generation, when it comes to what's going to happen in the future. And this AI system allows you to interact with your future self, to make plans, to plot out what's important to you and make that a reality. For those who are really anxious, having a pathway to choose that's in sync with your values and future goals can be really satisfying. It is a little odd. I hope the future self has Botox. But anyway, that's just me.
AI is listening. Dr. Bobby Ludwig, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dr. Ludwig.
Bye-bye.
Listen, let's get to some financial headlines. Google being ordered by a federal judge to overhaul its app store for Android users.
CNBC's Savannah Henao has that and some other money headlines. Savannah, good morning.
Joe, Morgan, good morning to you. So a federal judge is ordering Google to overhaul its mobile app business. This is to give Android users more options to download apps and pay for transactions within those apps. This injunction outlines changes Google must make to open up its lucrative Google Play Store to more competition, including making Android apps available from rival sources. The ruling follows a jury verdict last year for Epic Games. That's the maker of Fortnite. Epic accused Google of monopolizing how consumers access apps, as well as paying incentives to app developers to release an app first or exclusively on the Play Store. Meanwhile, Samsung issuing a rare apology after warning its quarterly profit will miss forecasts as it lags behind rivals in supplying high-end chips to AI leader NVIDIA. Samsung saying business with a key customer was hit by a delay. Now, the company has been the world's biggest memory chip maker for 3 decades, but is battling increasing competition in both conventional and advanced chips. And Scarlett Johansson is this year's top celebrity who is most frequently exploited for online scams. McAfee unveiling its annual celebrity hacker hot list today, and Johansson's likeness has been used in AI-generated ads and endorsements without her permission. And this signals a shift from scams focused primarily on stealing your money to the broader misuse of celebrity images and voices. Rounding out the top 5 this year, Kylie Jenner, Taylor Swift, Anya Taylor-Joy, and Tom Hanks, guys. Not a list you want to be on.
No kidding. Sylvan, all right, thank you so much.
You got it.
Well, staying on your wallet, a lot of people were raised with the belief that discussing personal finances is something that should be kept private, and that concept still generally holds true according to a new bank rate survey.
The study found only 38% of adults here in the U.S. feel comfortable discussing their bank account balances with family and close friends.
Joining us now for more on this is Ted Rossman. He's a senior industry analyst at Bankrate. Ted, thanks so much for joining us this Tuesday. Listen, before we get into the study, first just sort of lay the groundwork for us. Why do people feel so uncomfortable talking about their finances?
Money is very personal. A lot of people feel ashamed about things like credit card debt, which was actually the 3rd most uncomfortable topic to talk about. So bank account balances, like you said, are the most uncomfortable. Your love life is 2nd. Credit card debt is 3rd. Another way to look at it is that people would rather talk about their weight, their political views, their health, their religious views. They'd rather talk about all of that than credit card debt and how much money's in their bank account.
So what did your study find out about how people are feeling when it comes to their finances as a whole? And let's stick with the generational theme here we've been discussing this morning. How does age impact how likely you are to want to talk about all this?
Throughout the age spectrum, people are pretty uncomfortable talking about money. But a bit of a silver lining is that young adults are actually better at talking about money than people over age 40. Gen Z in particular is breaking down some of the stereotypes. Some of it is likely because they're the share everything on social media kind of generation, but it goes a little bit beyond that. Salary transparency is a big deal for Gen Zers. Yeah. This is a way to potentially fight back against the gender pay gap. More Gen Zers are sharing their salary with their friends and coworkers than any other generation.
Yeah, I think it's important, right, when we talk about especially closing some of those discrepancies that we know publicly exist. Just in a more sort of micro sense, the holidays are coming up, and a lot of people, they obviously feel uncomfortable talking about money. I mean, how should someone handle it if a situation comes up where they're talking about, for example, holiday gifting or even just throwing a holiday party?
In general, I believe that communication is key, but you do have to read the room. I mean, sometimes maybe it's better to just not bring it up, but you know, especially with people close to you, like your spouse, more than 4 in 10 who are married or otherwise living with a romantic partner have kept or are keeping financial secrets from that person.
Wow.
That's a no-no. We need to get better about that. When it comes to other family members and friends around the holidays, sometimes people are going to be asking for loans, which is a tricky situation because more than half of people who've lent money to family and friends had something bad happen as a result. I say treat it like a gift rather than a loan because a loan hangs over you. Yeah. And remember that saying about put your oxygen mask on before helping others. You don't want to jeopardize your own financial security. Sometimes it's okay to say, can I help in a different way?
Yeah, it's a really good point. I feel like I don't give things unless I know that I'm really comfortable with the universe if I never get it back. Ted Rossman for us. Thanks so much. We appreciate it.
No problem.
And coming up, an out-of-this-world mission that could one day help save the planet.
We're going to dive into the crash scene investigation that's set to take place millions of miles from the Earth. It's next.
Well, longtime viewers of Morning News Now know that we cannot pass up a good space story. And the latest spacecraft that's headed to the final frontier is actually on a special mission to help protect all of us right down here on Earth.
The Hera spacecraft launched out of Cape Canaveral in Florida yesterday to take a closer look at the remains of an asteroid that NASA targeted back in 2022 to knock it off its path. You might remember that. That was the very first time an object in space had its orbit shifted by human action. And now the European Space Agency is looking for answers as part of its first planetary defense mission.
We are lucky enough to have with us this morning Dr. Paul Sutter. He's an astrophysicist, NASA advisor, and the author of How to Die in Space, a journey through dangerous astrophysical phenomena. Dr. Sutter, thanks so much for joining us this Tuesday. Look, even if scientists don't believe we are currently at risk of ending up like dinosaurs, I mean, what are the most important answers that astronomers and scientists are hoping to find on this mission?
Yeah, absolutely. Even though there are no asteroids currently posing a risk to the Earth, but we know this is guaranteed to happen in our future at some point. And this poses an extreme existential risk to humanity. So even though the probability is small, the danger is very high and we need to address it. And so 2 years ago, like you mentioned, NASA sent DART, the Double Asteroid Redirect Test Mission, which essentially slammed a spacecraft into a asteroid about the size of the Great Pyramid at Giza. And now we've been able to study it from Earth-based observatories, but we want to get a closer look. And so as part of the mission, this is a follow-up launched by the European Space Agency. They just launched the Hera spacecraft to go visit the scene of the wreckage and investigate what happened to this small asteroid.
So the spacecraft's going to fly among more than 1 million known asteroids within our solar system. You might picture the classic Asteroid arcade game, which I played recently, and it's still awesome. What are the major risks or challenges to watch out for on its journey to this specific target?
Actually, even though there are a lot of asteroids, there are millions of asteroids in the asteroid belt, the space, the amount of volume in the asteroid belt is enormous. It's not like the movies, it's not like Star Wars, it's not like video games. You can pass through the asteroid belt without even realizing you're in the asteroid belt. The average, to give you a sense of this, the average distance between asteroids is around 1 million miles.
Wow. And Dr. Sutter, I mean, unfortunately, we will have to patiently wait for some answers since that spacecraft isn't expected to reach that target asteroid until 2026. But what does all of this sort of tell us, this mission, about where we stand with our planetary defense capabilities?
Exactly. So we do know that the mission, our initial results tell us that the mission was a success. When DART hit this small asteroid, it did change its trajectory just enough. Now we want to study how much did it just leave a crater? Was the asteroid totally vaporized? Did it leave a debris field? We want to get more accurate answers so that we can better prepare ourselves in the future.
All right, Dr. Paul Sutter for us. Dr. Paul, thank you so much.
It's going to do it for this hour of Morning News Now.
The news continues right now.
Right now on Morning News Now, we are tracking Milton's major threat bearing down on Florida's Gulf Coast. The superstorm now a massive Category 4 hurricane with winds well over 150 miles an hour. Millions there under mandatory evacuation orders. We've got team coverage as an already battered state prepares for the worst again. In the final sprint to Election Day, an all-out media blitz for Vice President Kamala Harris. She's set to make several high-profile TV and radio appearances today after playing defense on key issues like fracking and immigration on 60 Minutes. Comes as former President Trump backs out of an interview with CBS amid his continued attacks on the federal government for its hurricane response. We are covering it all. Plus, breaking new ground in the fight against shrinkflation. We've all seen it, paying the same price, sometimes even more, for less product. Now it's making waves on Capitol Hill. The two lawmakers looking to put some big household names on notice. And heartbeats of hope. Later in the hour, the experimental medical marvel that could be a major breakthrough for the thousands waiting for heart transplants. Well, you could say it's more machine than human. Good morning. Good to have you with us. I'm Joe Fryer.
I'm Morgan Raff. I'm in this morning for Savannah.
We're going to start this morning in Florida, of course, where tens of millions of people are bracing for Hurricane Milton, which is currently a strong Category 4 storm. Now, many experts are describing it as a monster hurricane, saying it has the potential to be one of the most destructive storms in the state's history.
Milton is expected to make landfall late tomorrow night or early Thursday morning and bring potentially record storm surge to parts of Florida's Gulf Coast. Meantime, several cities still have not fully cleared debris from Helene. NBC News Now anchor Tom Yamas is on one of the barrier islands right there near Tampa, currently in the storm's direct path.
These are the piles of debris that officials are so worried about, in some cases 6 feet high. In this neighborhood, they're on both sides of the street. And if those hurricane force winds come in, they could lift some of this stuff up. They could act like projectiles, or that storm surge could push it into homes or back out into the ocean. It's the big concern. The mayor of Tampa tells me she doesn't think they'll be able to pick up all of it. I can hear dump trucks this morning, which is a very good sign. But again, there's so much of this all over the Gulf Coast. This, as residents here were hit with back-to-back hurricanes in less than 2 weeks. They had just come back to clean up, now told to evacuate once again.
All along Florida's Gulf Coast, the race to escape is on. Residents filling sandbags, boarding up windows, and trying to clear debris that Hurricane Helene left behind. With up to 15 feet of storm surge possible, state officials are preparing for the largest evacuation since Hurricane Irma in 2017. Freeways already gridlocked for miles. Tampa's mayor with this blunt warning.
However, if you choose to stay in one of those evacuation areas, you're going to die.
Tampa resident Jana Thatch and her family taking no chances after Helene's storm surge threatened her home.
My kids can't unsee what happened last time, and I don't want that to be another experience for them.
Officials are most concerned about neighborhoods like this one, Madeira Beach near Tampa, because of all the debris that's piled up. What the storm surge won't push into these homes could be lifted up by those hurricane force winds and become dangerous projectiles.
Milton's winds reaching up to 180 miles per hour. The Cat 4 hurricane visible from the International Space Station as it moves across the Gulf of Mexico. On NBC 6 South Florida, veteran meteorologist John Morales emotional at the storm's increasing threat.
I apologize. This is just horrific.
3.5, 4 feet, so around here.
At Tampa General, facilities manager Dustin Pastor was here during Helene, making sure the hospital's aqua fence was holding strong against the dangerous storm surge. He knows it could be even worse this time.
So they're forecasting potentially a 12-foot storm surge with Hurricane Milton. Will this hold up?
It should. I mean, 12 feet is about here, so you'd still have another maybe 3 feet. It'll depend on a lot of things.
In neighborhoods devastated by Hurricane Helene, residents like Abby Lewis are trying to keep it together as they try to escape this relentless hurricane season.
I haven't allowed myself to kind of take in the emotional aspect.
Saving just a few precious mementos.
You know, I guess a good moment. But got to keep it together.
And no time to grieve what's been lost.
Do you have any idea what you're going to come back home to?
Well, it's already gone. It's a lot of us not knowing where we'll go.
And all along I-4, which is that major highway that intersects across Florida, there is traffic, miles-long traffic, as people try to escape. And people are documenting on social media how they're running out of gas. Gas stations are waiting for shipments to come in. Hotels are sold out. On top of that, it's another week of work where you're not going to get paid, you're not going to be able to work, and now you have to pay to evacuate. That's the latest from Madeira Beach, just outside of Tampa. I'm Tom Yamas. I'm going to send it back to you.
Our thanks to Tom.
Let's get to NBC meteorologist Michelle Grossman for the latest on Milton's track. Michelle, good morning.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, we are looking at this powerful storm system making landfall within the next 36 to 42 hours. Still seeing a very strong storm with 145-mile-per-hour winds. Excuse me, a Category 4 storm. Again, life-threatening. We're going to see destruction. We're going to see catastrophic conditions in the next 40 hours. So it's moving northeast at 12 miles per hour. Right now, the location about 545 miles southwest of Tampa, Florida. So it's making its way along the very warm, supercharged Gulf. We're looking at record warm warm temperatures there, and that's giving the storm the fuel that it needs to strengthen. Now, we do anticipate it staying as a Category 4 storm over the next 36 hours. Here's that landfall timing: Wednesday night, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. So we're going to continue to watch that very closely. As we get closer, we're going to pinpoint that track even more. It's starting to shorten a bit. It's starting to become a little smaller, where we're going to see that exact landfall, but still have some time to nail that down. Now, this is what's happening with this storm. Right now, we're looking at Milton growing in size as it goes across the Gulf. Right now, it's relatively small. We're looking at winds about 200 miles in width. That's pretty small for a tropical storm system. But as we go throughout time here, we're going to see it expand. So as it nears landfall, we're looking at 375 miles. That's almost the length of the west side of Florida, where it's about 550 miles per hour. So as it makes landfall, expecting a Category 3 storm, that is a major hurricane. We're looking at rainfall rates of up to 18 inches. We're looking at storm surge of up to 15 feet. That is life-threatening. That is salt water moving over dry land. And we are looking at winds gusting up to 100 miles per hour. You saw in Tom's piece, there is stuff everywhere. So we're going to see this blowing around. 100-mile-per-hour winds is tough anyway, let alone without all that debris around. So this is what happens as we go get a little closer to the coast here. We're going to see that larger storm because it's going to increase in size, and it's going to funnel the surge into the coast. And that's why we're most concerned about the storm surge, in addition to that really heavy rainfall, in addition to the damaging winds as well. Where you see the purple here, 10 to 15 feet, we're looking at Fort Myers and Naples, 6 to 10 feet, 5 to 10 feet, just north of Tampa as well. Let's talk about the winds, because this will be a big story. We're looking at some really saturated grounds, and guys, with 100-mile-per-hour winds, even much less than that, we're going to see power outages, not just for days, but could see weeks. So this is going to be a big, big cleanup effort. Back to you both.
All right, Michelle, thank you so much.
Well, as Hurricane Milton approaches Florida's Gulf Coast, many residents of Clearwater, Florida, are evacuating for now the second time in just 2 weeks.
Residents are rushing to clear the mountains of storm debris from Hurricane Helene, lining the streets still before Milton makes landfall. Clearwater officials want everyone off the barrier islands before the storm arrives.
So for more on this, let's go ahead and bring in Bruce Rector. He is the mayor of Clearwater, which is just outside of Tampa on Florida's Gulf Coast. Mayor, thank you so much for joining us in the thick of everything this morning. If we can, I'd love to just start by talking about preparations, because we know that Milton is expected to make landfall there in the Gulf Coast late tomorrow. So what are you urging people to do today in preparation for that moment?
Well, if you're in an evacuation area, you need to evacuate. Definitely anyone on the barrier islands. I had a text while I was just waiting for you from someone who has elderly neighbors in a condominium building on Clearwater Beach. We have a number of high-rise buildings, and people think that they're safe just because they're up 3 stories or more higher. You are not safe in this storm. You will lose electricity for 2 weeks. We may have to come rescue you. If you have a medical emergency, you may need to get out. If you are out there in any size building at all, you need to evacuate. And if you need help, please reach out to neighbors or someone to help you get off.
I was just going to ask about that, because there are some residents who have said they can't evacuate for a variety of reasons. What are some of the things they should do to prepare for this storm? Or are there resources to help them get to a safer place?
Well, reach out to us here at the City of Clearwater, or any of your municipalities or the county government. There's resources available, and we will help them. But if they can't get off, or they just refuse, then they need to make sure they stay safe during the storm. You noted in an earlier story about all the debris that is still left over from Hurricane Helene. We've done our best to get as much off as we can, but we will not get it all before the storm arrives. So you could be 10 stories up, and a projectile could come through your window during the storm. And so it doesn't matter where you're at in a building. You would be unsafe. You need to get to the interior of the building and stay there during the height of the storm to stay as safe as possible.
That's a really important point. I mean, just for people who aren't familiar with Clearwater, it's surrounded by a lot of water. You've got the Gulf of Mexico on one side, Old Tampa Bay on the other. And so storm surge can really lead to some pretty severe flooding that can make it difficult to evacuate once a storm hits. So what is your message to residents in terms of how long it will take before they could actually get help if there is a problem?
I've been told, we were out there after Helene the morning after. and helping get people off the island. They were walking to us on foot. You know, some have walked for a mile to get to us.
Wow.
So that get right out. And we'll get to you as soon as we can afterwards. But I told the condominium resident this morning, you may be without electricity for as long as 2 weeks, and it may be several days where your only way off the island is either by foot or by boat. We may not have a vehicle that can get you wherever you're at. So the best thing, the wisest thing to do is to get off now before the storm arrives.
That's really important sort of setting of expectations there. Mayor Bruce Rector, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it, and do stay safe.
Thank you for having me.
Now, as Florida braces for Hurricane Milton, states in the South are still recovering from Helene, and they're now facing a different kind of challenge: misinformation. It's so bad, FEMA has actually launched a webpage to fact-check all the false rumors. NBC News correspondent Antonia Hilton is in Burnsville, North Carolina, with more on this. Antonia, good morning.
Good morning, Joe. In recent days, former President Trump and other Republicans have questioned FEMA's response to Helene, in some cases falsely claiming that federal funding has been diverted to help migrants at the expense of storm victims. Now, the head of FEMA is pushing back. Take a look.
The head of FEMA attempting to set the record straight after her agency has been repeatedly accused of an inadequate response to Hurricane Helene by former President Trump.
Kamala spent all her FEMA money, billions of dollars, on housing for illegal migrants.
Deanne Criswell responding on CNN.
One, it's just categorically false. And I can assure you that no funding has been taken from the disaster relief funds.
In the last 2 years, FEMA has distributed more than $1 billion in taxpayer money to shelter migrants in cities across the U.S. But the White House and FEMA both say that's a separate government program, not for disaster relief, adding there's no evidence funds have been diverted. The vehement defense comes as the federal government rushes to prepare Florida for a second hurricane. Governor Ron DeSantis saying Monday the government is working with his state.
We have gotten what we need from the feds.
The federal government also sending an additional 500 troops to North Carolina to help with search and rescue efforts and to bring aid to people left with little after Hurricane Helene. Some residents, especially in remote towns, say they haven't seen any federal aid.
Have they come to your neighborhood, knocked on your door?
No.
One common false rumor that FEMA will only provide families $750.
So we're into almost $300 billion for Ukraine, and yet they're offering people $750
For immediate needs.
for the worst, but for the worst hurricane that anybody's seen.
That $750 is just for urgent essential items like food, water, and other emergency supplies, while FEMA assesses people's eligibility for more. FEMA forced to set up a web page to dispel the rumors. The U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security says he's never seen misinformation spread at this level, and it hurts the hurricane victims.
It sows distrust in their government, and therefore they don't seek the help that they truly need.
North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper and FEMA have been working on the ground to reassure residents help and funding are here. Already tens of millions of dollars in aid have been approved, and they estimate that 90% of the power could be back on today, Joe.
All right, Antonia Hilton in North Carolina. Antonia, thank you so much.
Now let's go to the race for the White House, as Vice President Harris is set to continue her media tour with more interviews planned for today. She faced some tough questions about her economic policy during an interview with 60 Minutes. Former President Donald Trump backed out of a planned interview with the same show and instead focused on criticizing the Biden administration's response to Hurricane Helene while also making more false claims. NBC News Chief White House correspondent Peter Alexander joins us now with the latest. Peter, good morning.
Good morning. 60 Minutes, as you know, has interviewed the major candidates in presidential elections, Morgan, dating back more than a half century. But this year, Donald Trump, as you noted, canceled. And 60 Minutes says, like Kamala Harris, Trump had initially accepted before backing out, citing, in their words, shifting explanations, including that he would be fact-checked. Last night, Harris faced tough questions on a range of topics.
In the final month until Election Day, Kamala Harris looking to persuade undecided voters in a series of interviews. Last night on 60 Minutes, the vice president responding to criticism that she has changed her position on key issues from fracking to immigration.
I have been listening to folks,
and seeking what is possible in terms of common ground.
The vice president was pressed whether she regretted the administration's initial border policy.
From day one, literally, we have been offering solutions.
What I was asking was it a mistake to kind of allow that flood to happen in the first place?
I think the policies that we have been proposing are about fixing a problem, not promoting a problem. Okay?
But the numbers did quadruple.
And the numbers today, because of what we have done, we have cut the flow of illegal immigration by half.
Harris was also asked for more details on a recent revelation that she is a gun owner.
I have a Glock, and I've had it for quite some time. And I mean, look, Bill, my background is in law enforcement. And so there you go.
Have you ever fired it?
Yes. Of course I have. At a shooting range.
Former President Trump, appearing on a previously taped Fox News interview, asked by Laura Ingraham whether he'll use the justice system to go after his political rivals.
A lot of people say that's what should happen. You want to know the truth.
Pressed further.
But you're not going to do that. When you get in office, you're going to look at all your political enemies.
No, I want to make this the most successful country in the world.
And overnight, we got a new poll from the New York Times that shows Harris leads Trump in their poll for the first time since July, when President Biden stepped aside in this race. Harris's advantage nationally is 3 points, 49 to 46. That is within the margin of error. Notably, likely voters said Harris was the candidate representing change in the election. The first time she's led on that question. They were basically even, admittedly. Trump's main advantage, though, remains, Morgan, on who voters trust to manage Americans' top issue, the economy.
Less than a month to go and a tight race. Peter Alexander joining us live from the White House. Peter, as always, thank you so much.
The deadline to register to vote has come and gone in several states, including in battleground Arizona. Both the Trump and Harris campaigns are looking to win the support of the state's Native American tribes. NBC contributor Alyssa Landon traveled to the Navajo Nation to see how volunteers are working to get people to the polls on Election Day.
On Arizona's White Mountain Apache Reservation, volunteers known as firekeepers are hard at work. Going door to door, they're registering fellow tribal members to vote in time for November's presidential election.
Republican, Democrat.
Field Operations Manager Jandy Craig says that the point isn't who they vote for, it's that they're able to vote.
People feel like it's very complicated, the process of registering to vote, and so we do the best that we can as a group to share information.
More than 300,000 Indigenous Americans live in Arizona. There are 22 federally recognized tribes. Their vote is essential and coveted in this swing state. President Biden narrowly won Arizona in 2020, the first Democrat to do so in 20 years, with strong support from citizens of the Navajo Nation. But former President Trump has had an advantage with Indigenous voters nationwide. Both parties are working hard this fall to win over Native voters. At a recent rally in Arizona, Vice President Kamala Harris publicly acknowledged tribal leaders.
I will always honor tribal sovereignty and respect tribal self-determination.
While the GOP is courting votes on social media through groups like Navajos for Trump. But many potential voters face huge hurdles. That's why Janie Parrish launched the nonprofit Arizona Native Vote.
We know the 101 ways it is hard to vote. However, we're doing our part to pitch in to help people overcome some of those barriers.
The challenge is language barriers, a proof of citizenship requirement, which can pose a problem for elderly Indigenous people who don't have traditional birth certificates. And, in some instances, no physical mailing address.
A lot of reservations have the same experience of, not having official road names.
That means, in some cases, volunteers like Jandy must physically draw a map on the voter registration form.
And then I would draw to say this is where the fire station is.
Describing to election officials where a would-be voter lives. And then the voters have to actually get to the polling stations, which for many can be 50 miles away or more. Allie Young started Ride to the Polls as a means of getting other Indigenous people to rural polling stations, by carpool or even by horse.
We heard elders talk about their memories of their parents saddling up, and because they knew the importance of voting and exercising that right.
First-time voters Nalani Lopez and Caleb Sosi are likely voting for different candidates in November, but say they'll be voting for the same reason.
We as people, we've gone through so many setbacks and so many things that they didn't want us here. They didn't want us to make our voices heard.
Our ancestors, were resilient and persevered through hard times. I feel like gives that more instinctive value to then vote today.
And our thanks to Alyssa London for that report.
Much more to come right here on Morning News Now. We are watching Hurricane Milton as it slowly makes its way towards Florida's Gulf Coast. Plus, later in the hour, how officials are preparing for that 1-2 punch of a direct hit right there in the wake of Helene.
First, after the break, Israel ramping up its ground offensive in Lebanon this morning after another night of airstrikes on its capital, Beirut. Our Richard Engel is on the ground there with the latest next.
Welcome back, and thanks again for joining us. This morning, the Israeli military says it is expanding its ground assault to the southwestern part of Lebanon in what it calls a limited, localized, and targeted operation on Hezbollah. Now, that ground offensive, it comes after another night of Israeli airstrikes on the capital Beirut, while explosions were seen over Haifa after Hezbollah fired rockets into Israel. NBC News chief foreign correspondent Richard Engel has more from Beirut.
Israel's enemies are under attack, but also firing intensely. In the last 24 hours, Hezbollah here in Lebanon, Hamas in Gaza, the Houthis in Yemen fired around 200 missiles, drones, and rockets at Israel, mostly to little effect. Israel's enemies opened fire overnight in what seemed to be a coordinated barrage to show Israel they're still standing. Israel fired into Beirut and across southern Lebanon in what the Israeli military described as extensive strikes on Hezbollah terror targets. Israel has been carrying out airstrikes right on the edges of the city of Tyre. We counted about 10 airstrikes just in that area. After a day of memorials for the 1,200 Israelis killed on October 7th a year ago, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Israel is at a war to change the Middle East, with America at its side.
It was the worst attack on the Jewish people since the Holocaust, but unlike the Holocaust, we fight back. And we're fighting like lions with the support of the American government, the American people.
All four presidential and vice presidential candidates attended events in solidarity with Israel. But on some college campuses, tensions mounted, with demonstrations last night calling for an end to the Gaza war.
On this day in particular, it's very difficult for the Jewish community.
And in Gaza, a year after militants left from here to attack Israel, there is now devastation and a few precious glimmers of hope. 12-year-old Alma Al-Jarur's entire family was killed, she says, by an Israeli strike last December. Trapped under her destroyed home, she cried for a rescue team to save her parents and 4 siblings before her. She lives with her aunt and is writing a children's book. It tells the story of an orphan child in Gaza who has suffered the same thing, the sole survivor, like me, she says. Alma draws pictures of better days ahead. The bird I drew symbolizes peace, representing safety, she says. Safety for now, nowhere to be found in Gaza. And this morning, a suggestion Hezbollah is open to a ceasefire. The group's deputy leader said that he supports ceasefire negotiations and didn't directly tie it to a deal in Gaza, which the group has always done. So it may be an opening for diplomacy.
Our thanks to Richard Engel.
More international headlines this morning. 2 Chinese nationals were killed in an explosion near an airport in South Pakistan.
NBC News international correspondent Claudio Lavanga joins us now with that story and more. Claudio, good morning.
Morgan, Joe, good morning. Well, that's right. The Chinese embassy in Pakistan confirmed that those 2 Chinese nationals were killed in an explosion near the international airport of Karachi in the south of the country on Sunday. Now, the attack was later claimed by a separatist militant group, the Baluch Liberation Army, which in a statement said they used a vehicle-borne improvised device targeting Chinese nationals, including engineers. The group, which seeks independence for the province of Balochistan in the south of Pakistan, are targeting Chinese nationals as they accuse Beijing of helping Islamabad exploit that province. The Chinese embassy described it as a terrorist attack and said they are working with Pakistani authorities in the investigation. And let's go to Bolivia now, where according to the NGO Terra Foundation, the country is experiencing its worst ever fire season. The NGO says that since the beginning of this year, wildfires scorched about 25 million acres. That's about the area of Cuba, or around 19 million American football fields. The record-breaking fire season was confirmed by some statistics provided by Brazil's space agency, which said that there have been about 82,000 active fires across Bolivia in 2024. Last week, Bolivia's government declared a national disaster. And let's end this tour of the world in Tunisia, where Kais Saied was re-elected president in a landslide victory. On Monday, the country's high authority for elections said Saied won 90.7% of the vote, but critics say the election was marred by the choice by the opposition to boycott the elections in protest against the imprisonment of leading critics of the president, including journalists, lawyers, and activists. The opposition also emphasized the low turnout in Sunday's election. At the time of the polling closed, only around 27% of those eligible to vote cast their ballot, compared to 49% during the last presidential race, guys, which was back in 2019. Morgan, Joe?
All right, Claudio, thank you so much. Coming up, we are continuing to track Hurricane Milton as it bears down on Florida's Gulf Coast.
We are on the ground in one of the areas hit hard by Helene, as officials there race to clean up debris, which could prove extremely dangerous once Milton makes landfall. All that and more coming up next. We are back now with the latest from Florida, where tens of millions of people are under extreme weather alerts, bracing for Hurricane Milton. Some meteorologists are calling the Category 4 storm horrific, saying it could bring record storm surge and destruction. It is expected to make landfall as early as tomorrow night, and one of the top concerns is the storm's wind power. Since some coastal cities haven't really fully cleared out debris from Hurricane Helene, Milton could then turn those discarded items into projectiles. NBC News correspondent Jesse Kirsch is live on the ground in one of those coastal cities. That's Sarasota, Florida. Jesse, good morning.
Hey, Morgan, good morning. You can see behind me the water level on this home from Helene. It's about at my waist height, and that means so much that was inside has been turned into trash. And take a look at what is still on this lawn. We've got everything from furniture to food to all kinds of other items. And this is a scene that's pretty typical in the aftermath of a hurricane. But now there's another major storm headed this way. And when Milton roars ashore, all of this will become an even bigger problem.
This morning, Florida is racing to remove truckloads of debris, and the clock is running out.
That's a 24/7 round-the-clock mission. We need as much of this debris picked up as possible. This creates a safety hazard.
Across Florida's Gulf Coast, streets and sidewalks are littered with parts of destroyed homes, splintered lumber, heavy pieces of furniture, and household items after Hurricane Helene gutted the region less than 2 weeks ago. And now another major hurricane, Milton, is less than 48 hours from landfall in the same region, turning trash into potential projectiles and storm surge battering rams.
It can make it harder for our responders to get in and out.
Fighting an uphill preparations battle, officials are scrambling in places like Manatee County, Florida, near Sarasota.
So as we get one area cleared, people continue to bring items out of their home and put it back on the street. So an area that was clear is now not clear.
Yeah, I've dealt with dumpsters a lot. I jumped on that.
How many loads have they already taken?
They've taken 2.
This is after 2 trailers have already been taken.
Yes.
Hurricane Helene sent roughly waist-high water into Lance Heath's home. Now he's paying hundreds of dollars out of his own pocket to get his family's ruined belongings hauled away.
How much more worried are you about what the wind is going to do to your community because all of this is out here?
I'm very worried. If our neighbors' furniture doesn't end up on ours, doesn't float over, I think we'll be ahead of the game.
And that homeowner told me that in the aftermath of Helene, he's not going to be putting sandbags up or boarding up the windows and doors here. Again, that water level is about waist high, and Morgan, with the projections we're seeing, we could see twice as high of a storm surge here this time around as compared to, again, less than 2 weeks ago.
Wow,
Morgan?
people definitely need to listen to those evacuation orders. Jesse Kirsch on the ground for us. Jesse, thanks.
Let's talk now with Mayor Gene Brown. He's the mayor of Bradenton, which is right there along the Gulf Coast. Mr. Mayor, good to have you with us. First of all, just how are things going? What is your biggest focus right now as we wait for Milton to make landfall?
Well, thank you for having us. And one of the biggest focuses right now is to tell people there's still time to get out. If you can get out and get somewhere, go now. You know, we're in evacuation A, B, and C, and those are the lower lying areas where we saw the storm surge come up. The city of Bradenton, we had over 700 homes affected by water less than 2 weeks ago with Helene. And, you know, we've done a great job at what we can do, picking up almost 1 million pounds of household debris. And we started on Sunday morning a week ago and really worked hard. But as Director Fisk said, as soon as you get a street clean, more is out. We're hoping people keep it in now and just let's wait till after this storm goes through and we will get to it. But it's just important, you know, it's going to be a trouble if we have that flooding and you're sheltered in place and we can't get to you and it goes up to that 10 or 12 feet. Because unfortunately, once that gets that high, we can't get there.
Mr. Mayor, that's a great point. You know, and one thing that's sad in situations like this is the amount of misinformation that can sometimes circulate, right? You have some people who are saying, oh, look, Milton's expected to drop down to a Category 3. I don't need to be worried. I mean, what do you do to sort of counter that level and type of misinformation?
Well, we do see a lot of people this time, after 2 weeks ago, having Helene, taking things a little more serious. We've given out more sandbags than we've ever given out, and ours are pre-filled. So we've given out just close to 9,000. We're at 125 pallets of water that we've given out. So we're seeing it, and the shelters are full more than they've ever been. And so people are taking it a little more serious. But we want the people to realize that this storm surge is going to be worse than sometimes the wind coming through. If you get up to 10, 12 feet, that's over top of your house.
With the shelters being so full, it does sound like most people are heeding the warning. Do you get the impression that's what's happening? What's your message to those who are saying, no, I'm going to ride this out, I'm going to stay put?
Well, our town, as we've seen in the Tampa Bay area, has been lucky for over 100 years. This is the storm that, you know, if it does hit directly to us, that people are going to lose their lives, and that's not what we want. We want them to heed the warnings and either get out of the town or get to a shelter where there's more protection and it's higher, where you don't have to worry about the storm surge.
It's interesting that you mentioned sort of the history of this, Mr. Mayor, where you all had Ian 2 years ago, then you had Helene less than 2 weeks ago. I mean, you're from this area. Your dad grew up in that area. As someone who has sort of these deep roots in this community, how are you all doing with all this?
Well, my family with my grandkids is 7th generation Manatee County, and my dad's house on Bradenton Beach, where he was raised in, you know, is still there right now. But, you know, they haven't been able to get in and do much. It's more about protection of life and safety right now. And that's where we want people to get out and get safe. We can come back and replace a house. We can't replace your life.
Important advice right there. Bradenton Mayor Gene Brown, thank you so much. We'll continue to check in with you over the next coming days, all right?
Thank you.
And coming up, fighting back against so-called shrinkflation.
After the break, the Capitol Hill lawmakers calling out some big-name companies for charging the same price, sometimes more, for less product. We've got more on that coming up next.
We're back now with the latest attempt to fight what's being called shrinkflation. That's essentially when companies will allegedly reduce their product sizes, but still then charge the same or even higher prices.
Well, now 2 high-ranking lawmakers are taking matters into their own hands and sending letters to 3 corporations who they say have tried to boost their profits through shrinkflation. NBC News senior business correspondent Christine Romans has the story.
Hey there, we all know consumers hate inflation. They also really hate shrinkflation, when the price tag is the same but the boxer bag is significantly smaller. And now shrinkflation is making real waves on Capitol Hill.
This morning, as shoppers sound the alarm on paying more for less.
This new one looks bigger, but it actually just contains the same amount of product, and it costs $1 more.
The ongoing fight against so-called shrinkflation getting new attention on Capitol Hill. Senator Elizabeth Warren and Representative Madeline Dean in letters to General Mills, Coca-Cola, and PepsiCo, accusing them of a pattern of profiteering through shrinkflation. The Democratic lawmakers blasting the companies for, they say, padding their profits at the expense of consumers, even after enjoying large tax cuts in recent years.
There are a lot of complex economic factors at play.
The trade group representing the companies calls attacks on the industry misleading, saying consumers have many choices at different price points when shopping.
Our number one goal is to be able to provide consumers with affordable, safe products for them and their families, and that's what we're committed to doing.
Consumer advocates, though, argue shoppers often don't know they're getting less.
Shrinkflation is inflation that's harder to see, right?
Exactly. It's the sneaky type of inflation, getting less for your money. Isn't that what inflation's about? Paying a higher price? Here you're paying the same or higher price and getting less.
According to the most recent Capital One shrinkflation statistics, everyday items, including brands of laundry detergent, cereal, and frozen snacks, all had shrinkflation rates topping 21%, while 3/4 of shoppers have noticed shrinkflation at their grocery stores, and nearly half have abandoned a brand over shrinkflation. That sting felt from Main Street to Sesame Street. Cookie Monster writing on X earlier this year, "Me hate shrinkflation. Me cookies getting smaller."
We should mention we reached out to PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, and General Mills and have not heard back. Meantime, experts say store brands are still often a viable alternative for some savings. And one of the best things we can do in the immediate future is become conscious of the net weight when we shop. See how much you're actually getting versus how much it costs. Back to you.
I wish Christine would have done the Cookie Monster voice. All right, Christine Romans, thank you. More money news now. Bankrupt crypto exchange FTX will start paying back its customers 2 years after its collapse.
CNBC's Silvana Hanau has more on that and other headlines. Silvana, good morning.
Good morning, Morgan. Good morning, Julia. So FTX has been cleared by a bankruptcy court to start repaying billions of dollars to customers with assets recovered since the crypto exchange collapsed 2 years ago. FTX will repay 98% of customers who held $50,000 or less on the exchange, and they will receive at least 118% of their account value as of November 2022. FTX's current management have recovered more than $16 billion in assets. Sam's Club is testing a future without checkout lines. The membership club, which is owned by Walmart, is opening an all-digital store in the Dallas area this month. Customers will have to use a smartphone app called Scan and Go to ring up their purchases. Sam's Club will display online-only items such as a lab-grown diamond or 12-foot Christmas tree, and members can scan a QR code to link straight to the items in the app. The company says workers will have about 4 times more space for getting orders together for curbside pickup and delivery. And McDonald's is rolling out its newest menu item this week. It's the Chicken Big Mac. The fast food giant is hoping it will bring in more customers, grow its chicken business, and boost sales. In what's been a challenging year, McDonald's sales have declined as consumers pull back on restaurant spending, and the industry raises prices more sharply than casual dining chains and grocery stores. The Chicken Big Mac is a twist on the original, replacing the 2 all-beef patties with 2 tempura battered chicken ones. Starting on Thursday, you can try one at participating locations for a limited time. I prefer the original.
Silvana has spoken.
Silvana, thanks so much. We appreciate you.
A new and experimental medical device could bring hope for thousands of people waiting for a heart transplant. Often those patients are too sick to go home and are forced to spend months in an ICU just waiting for that call. But now a high-tech artificial heart might be able to change that. NBC News medical fellow Dr. Akshay Sayal got an exclusive look at this new procedure and joins us with that. Dr. Sayal, good morning.
Good morning, Joe. Yeah, what we're hearing from company Bivacor is that they're actually doing another surgery right now as we speak in Cincinnati. And Joe, we got to look at the second patient on planet Earth to receive this titanium heart. Take a look.
As Donovan Harbinson lay in a North Carolina hospital earlier this year, doctors told him time was running out. What the 35-year-old teacher and father thought was pneumonia was actually severe heart failure. And now, his every heartbeat was becoming more faint. His lungs filling with fluid.
I think it was like heart failure. It was scary. It was like, oh, heart failure means death.
Doctors told him his only hope for survival was a heart transplant.
He really needed all this support, and over the course of just a few weeks had to be transitioned onto pumps that were not enough support for him.
There are nearly 4,000 patients on the heart transplant list right now, with far fewer organs available. People can wait months, sometimes years, for an available heart. While waiting for a heart, doctors can offer temporary devices to manage heart failure, but they can be large and cumbersome and don't always work well for everyone. As a last resort, doctors at Duke Health turned to an experimental device, a titanium artificial heart powered by magnets and made by Bivacor, that would actually replace his heart. Daniel Timms invented the device.
And can you show me how does it fit? Where would it go?
The natural heart will be removed, and then the device will be attached through these connections to the remnant parts of the heart inside here. And then these grafts are then stitched to the remaining vessels, both the aorta and the pulmonary artery.
That's incredible.
A team of Duke surgeons, including Dr. Carmelo Milano, spent 4 hours implanting the device.
In an instant, the device was able to recreate normal circulation, normal amounts of blood flow, normal pressures. That was very exciting.
Great job. This is the first moment Harbinson was able to stand up with his titanium heart.
It was definitely heavier because you don't normally feel your heart.
Donovan was just the second person on the planet to receive one.
I knew mentally my heart was gone. And I'm like, okay, I am going to be Tony Stark, I'm about to, come out with a shiny piece in my chest that, just keeping me alive. Yeah, so that was kind of like the running joke.
Good luck to you.
For Donovan, within days of getting the device, he was able to get healthy enough for a transplant. And now with his new heart, he'll get to watch his children grow, including his fourth baby on the way.
Would you say that this device saved your life?
Yes. Without a doubt.
So, Dr. Sal, I mean, this is truly extraordinary and seems like such a promising development. Is this procedure something we're likely to see made more readily available across the country anytime soon?
That's the hope, Joe. So this device here it's what's called an early feasibility study, meaning that the doctors and researchers are sort of trialing it in a small amount of people to see how well it works. And, we can report that since Donovan's case there has been a successful operation in Phoenix, Arizona at Banner University Medical Center. There is one as we're speaking right now, Joe, at the University of Cincinnati. So we are hopeful. They are going full steam ahead, but we are hopeful that this becomes standard of care in the future and available to those thousands of people who could benefit, Joe.
No kidding. That would help so many people. Dr. Sayal, thanks for bringing us that story. Appreciate it. Coming up, we're serving up a little food for thought on this Tuesday morning.
Just after the break, we're going to take you to Miami, where one entrepreneur is turning the flavors of her Mexican heritage into an empanada empire. That's next. Stay right here. We are back now with a big reputation booster for America's biggest pop star. According to Forbes, Taylor Swift is now the richest female musician in the world with an estimated net worth of $1.6 billion. Her record-breaking Eras tour propelled her into billionaire status last year. And on top of that, she's made about $600 million from her music catalog and about $125 million in real estate. Swift overtook fellow pop icon Rihanna, who Forbes estimates is worth about $1.4 billion.
So she hit $1 billion and just said, 5 billion. I'm moving on to 2.
Oh, better have my money.
3.
Yeah, 4.
Exactly. All right, cool. Let's end this hour celebrating Hispanic heritage with an entrepreneur who's bringing a taste of her homeland to thousands of people every day. NBC News correspondent Marissa Parra has her story.
Hola! Hello?
Entrepreneur Pilar Guzman knows how to light up a room. Even her Miami factory is filled with color.
When I talk about the Half Moon story, I say it's my life story too.
But the CEO of Half Moon Empanadas has never left anything half done.
Before Half Moon existed, what was it that you said, these empanadas aren't good enough? I want to make my own.
It was what it was missing in America. I would see the tacos, the burgers, pizza. Why not empanadas?
Born in Veracruz, Mexico, Pilar moved to the United States as a high school exchange student, bringing along her father's visionary ways of dreaming big.
How did that happen? How was the journey coming from Mexico to the United States, and where in the U.S. did you go?
In Illinois, I spent 1 year as a junior, and that's how I learned English. And it was a life-changing experience for me.
Starting her career in philanthropy, she soon cooked up the idea of building an empanada empire. She moved to Miami with her then husband, and in 2008, she opened her first empanada shop.
I think our intention was to bring a little piece of our culture. You know, as an immigrant, it's always, you're always in 2 places, I'm Mexican and American. And so that, for me, that was important.
After 3 years and a recession, her small store closed, but her faith never wavered.
You stand up and you fight it and you hustle.
She then saw a need. Hungry students on the go at the University of Miami. So in 2011, she got a cart and she went to business.
And I think that was the aha moment. That was the part where I said, this is where we're gonna grow.
The handheld pocket-sized meal was perfect for travelers in high-traffic spots. And in 2013, Pilar seized the moment that would change everything.
The Miami airport was looking for local vendors to bring, the authentic Latin flavor of the city to the airport. And I said, I want that. And we become the best seller per square foot for the Miami airport. This tiny little restaurant of empanadas.
The company was growing, but when the pandemic hit, everything came to a halt.
So I felt a lot of responsibility. And I did the same thing I did in South Beach. I hustled. I called everybody I knew to sell empanadas.
Thinking of the business and her employees, Pilar transformed their commercial kitchen into making meals for seniors. Her can-do attitude earned her big name recognition.
Pilar, can you hear me?
Yes, hi. How are you?
Tell me about your business.
She was among the small business owners that President Biden spoke to as part of his economic rescue plan.
This is where the magic happens.
This is where the magic happens.
Now, Pilar's Half Moon Empanadas have expanded to 20 locations, including 9 major airports.
And the quality of the food. We make it with the heart. This is people, hardworking people that make this amazing product, top of the top quality for everybody to try.
This room is filled with more than workers. These guys are like family to you.
Yes, we're a family.
So in one day, how many empanadas are you making here?
So we make over 8,000 empanadas
in one day. 8,000.
Now, tapping into her philanthropic roots, the mother of 2 wants to give back.
I really want other women, Latinas, to see me and see that it can be possible, that they can dream, that they can work hard, and that this country allows you that opportunity. And if my brand and my company, Half Moon Empanadas, can be a venue for that, I'm done.
Marissa Parra, NBC News.
Oh, I love that. Now I'm hungry.
Okay. I know, I'm very hungry.
I want an empanada con carne y queso.
For breakfast. I also love it to never give up on the back of her jacket.
Oh, wasn't that cool?
Great message right there. All right, that's going to do it for this hour of Morning News Now.
The news continues right now.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.